everybody, my name is Jordan, and in a future video you'll meet my wife Krista, and currently we're living in interior Alaska, and we intend to move to Japan in about 4 months to start our lives as missionaries there. So what I really wanted to do is create a series of videos that just show some of the how and the why, some of the behind the scenes. Because as I was looking into becoming a missionary, something I've been thinking about for a long time now, it was easy to see people working in the field, easy to find information just about classes to take about missionary life, but I found it difficult to find the nitty-gritty, the behind the scenes, like how people arrived at this decision, how it works, how long it takes from when you make that decision before you actually get into the field, the costs of things like fundraising, moving expenses, and just a lot of that process. Learning the language, learning a culture. And although we're not there yet, I intend to keep these videos going as we make the move to Japan and as we live in Japan, and just try to give you some of those insights and how we're able to make that happen. So what I wanted to do is just start a little bit just on my background and how my wife and I got here. So yeah, we've been living in Alaska for 7 years now. We're originally from Massachusetts. We've lived all over the country over the past 20-something years working for the parks. And things have just started to change in the last, year and a half or so. With my line of work, physical fitness is a huge part of it. And I started to experience significant back pain. It's been going on for years, but it became really bad in the past year and a half. And it started making me think about a change in lifestyle. Like if I had to give up my career, what would I go to next? And I just started praying about it. And during that time, in December of 2022, my wife and I took a 3-week trip to Vietnam. And Vietnam is an amazing country. The people are incredible. Food is great, of course. But it was also the first restricted country I've ever been to. And if you don't really know about hostile and restricted countries for Christianity, I'd really encourage you to sign up for the Voice of the Martyrs. It gives you a lot of insight into how Christians in persecuted environments live. So it was the first restricted country I went to. And as I was over there, I was giving out a few tracts, but I was also kind of thinking of, if I were to move here, how could I help? How could I help bring the gospel to these people? And it was really on my mind as we left Vietnam. And as we left Vietnam, we had to take a layover in Tokyo, and extended that layover for 3 days and just spent some time in Tokyo. We'd never been to Japan before, and I loved it, and Krista loved it. And as we left Japan, it kind of was heavy on my mind about, well, what about Japan? What's Christianity like in Japan? So I started doing some research, and like a lot of people do, as soon as they research it a little bit, they find out Japan is the second largest unreached people group in the world. It's only about 0.5% are evangelical Christians there. So even though it's an incredibly modern country with no religious restrictions, the gospel just has not spread there, despite people being there for decades as missionaries, just making the attempts. It's a very difficult culture to break into. So as soon as I heard that, and as soon as I started looking into that, I thought, well, what can I do? Just with my line of work and just with my personality, when I see a need, I want to help. I want to go help. So I started looking into how can I help Japan? Could I go over there as a missionary maybe? And at first I was just looking at short-term mission work, like 2, maybe 3 weeks at a time per year, setting up something on a recurring basis. Because my career was still going well, so I figured it, maybe sometime long in the future after I retire, then I can think of maybe moving somewhere with my wife to do full-time mission work. So I just started praying about it, started praying a lot about it. And really the first step in becoming a missionary is praying, just having that relationship with God and just asking, just putting that, what is my path? Where can you use me? And I started praying a prayer that I hadn't prayed before. And I started asking God just to open and close doors that lead me to His perfect will. And things started changing, and I didn't realize it for a long time what it actually meant. So in about April of 2023, my back pain, again, chronic back pain, started to get significantly worse. And it just got worse and worse and worse as the months progressed. to the point where I didn't think I could safely be doing my job anymore. I had a hard time standing up straight in the morning, still do, and just about half an hour to an hour of muscle spasms just as I start my day every day, and I just kind of got used to that. But at the same time, I started to look more and more into Japan and researching opportunities to go over there short term. And I started exploring some of the larger mission organizations over there, like SEND and OMF. And I took what was called an Explore Together, essentially course online with each of those organizations that lasted a few months each, where I just got together with other like-minded people who were thinking of going out into the mission world and just exploring what missionary life is like. And those were helpful, and I met a lot of really great people. At the same time, I started talking to my pastor, just saying, hey, I'm thinking of going into the mission worlds, and starting to think about becoming a missionary. And at first, just doing it, short term. And he provided a lot of encouragement. He's a missionary himself to rural Alaska, where I'm located. So I just kept praying about it. And eventually, we started turning our eyes towards Japan and thinking that, okay, Japan is going to be the place where we're going to do short-term mission trips. God had some other plans, though, and I'll continue that story in another video. But what I want to just do is just the overview right now. Just the how I got here, how to search for mission organizations, just some of the process that you'll have to go through, things like fundraising, things like biblical classes, depending on your level of history studying the Bible, obtaining visas, the moving process. If you're taking pets, like I've got a dog, I've got an Alaskan Husky. The Alaskan Husky, Taku, will be coming with us to Japan. It's a very complicated process. I'll talk you through just what that was like for us, how we're starting very slowly to learn the language and the culture of Japan, and just some of the challenges that come along with that. So I've already told you a little bit about how I got here, how we got to the decision starting to look towards Japan, but I want to tell a little bit just about what I would suggest you should do if you're thinking about becoming a missionary. Step one, again, is pray about it. If you're not seeking the Lord, if you don't have a strong relationship with God, then the missionary world is probably not going to push you in that direction. As a matter of fact, when a lot of people go into the missionary world, they feel more isolated. So that relationship might become more difficult. Second step is to get with your pastor, to start talking to your pastor about it and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, whether it's short-term trips, mid-range trips where you're looking maybe 1 to 3 years, or long-range trips. And just start talking to your pastor and build that relationship with your pastor, because your pastor, your elders at your church, they should be able to see if you're spiritually mature enough to go out into the mission field, because it is a challenging place. There is going to be spiritual warfare when you're there. And you should have the foundation of the gospel to be able to, one, present that to the people you're witnessing to, but also to have that rock that you're standing on yourself. Another part of that is just how deep are you in the Word? Are you evangelizing to people? If you're not studying your Bible daily, you're probably not ready for the missionary field. It takes a strong commitment. If you're not evangelizing in any way to people, the missionary field might not be right for you, because you're going to be evangelizing to people that probably have a different culture than you, and they might have a different language than you, maybe significantly different. So if you're having trouble witnessing to people at home, it's just going to get harder out there. So don't think that just because you go into the mission field that it's going to make you a new person. You need that foundation before you leave. And then you need to start exploring what missionary life is like. So just start searching for missionary organizations. Most of them have, like what I did, these online meetups, these Zoom calls, or whatever it's going to be, where you just start talking through the missionary process and what it means to be a missionary and what kind of foundation you should have before you go. And these places usually also have either online or in-person classes that'll start giving you more of a biblical foundation if you need that. And everyone should be continuously learning. So just like biblical hermeneutics, just how to present the gospel, cultural sensitivity with the gospel, just how to present it to different people groups, and on and on and on. So you can start taking those classes like right now and start seeing like, hey, is this speaking to me? Is this really what I want to be doing? As you're working through that process, you should continue to pray about where you should go. Maybe you have already an idea, a culture that you've been interested in for a long time, or just some place that's just heavy on your heart that you really want to go to. Some people, say missionary life is, well, you just want to get paid by someone else to travel to a different country. And you want to make sure that's not your motive. Your motive is to go there to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to people who have never heard. So just really continuously just check your own heart with that. You probably should have a love of travel and a love of going to new places and exploring new cultures, because that's what you'll be doing. And you'll want to embrace their culture to the point that it doesn't contradict what's told in the Bible, and try to see life from their perspective. And great ways to do that is, of course, YouTube is amazing. So start watching videos about that culture. Start watching travel videos. Start watching just how people live their everyday lives there. And if you're fortunate enough, you might be able to find some information about missionaries or Christians who are already there and just talk about how they spread the gospel or some challenges they face. Another step is just going to be thinking logistics. How are you going to do this? Short term, highly recommended. A way to just kind of test to say, is this right for me? Is this lifestyle something that I think I could be a part of? And then it just broadens your horizons as well. So even if you're never thinking of being a long-term missionary, going out into the field short term, hugely beneficial just for building your faith, for meeting Christians from sometimes around the country that come together for a mission trip, or from your church that come together for a mission trip, and then just seeing what it's like to give the gospel out to a culture that maybe has never heard the name Jesus. And that could be just a life-changing event for you and help grow you in your faith as well as you try to spread the word to other people. And then just think about the process. How are you going to do this? If you're in school, is it going to be during school break? If you have a career, is it going to be during some of your vacation time? Or if you're thinking of going full-time, like what we're going to do, what does it mean for you? What does it mean to give up the career you're in? Maybe to be really far away from family. What's it going to mean for your finances? Things like that. So there's just a lot of things to think through and to pray through as you're doing it. So the process of wanting to become a missionary and then going full-time in the field is probably going to be a long one. For most people, it takes years. Right now, I'd say it was in December of 2023 when in my head I was like, I want to do this full-time. I want to go to Japan and become a full-time missionary. It took my wife a lot longer. It took her many, many months of thinking about it and praying about it to arrive at the same conclusion. I tend to make my decisions really fast, and I was like, I want to go, like, get me there now. But again, I've got a career. We've got this beautiful rental house we're in. So there's a lot of things to take care of before you can just kind of give up your current life and go start a new one somewhere else. So a lot of things to consider. And then the logistics of it is complicated. If you go through a large mission organization, they're going to help you with that. They're going to help you every step of the way because they've done this with hundreds of people, probably for decades. So they're going to help you through the process. As of right now, my wife and I are going over independently. We were having trouble finding a mission organization that wanted to work where we were feeling called to go, and just in the timeline that we wanted to go. A lot of these mission organizations have a lot of prerequisites, which are great. A lot of different classes they want you to take, fundraising goals. They want you to have a commitment coming in from outside sources that's consistent to say that you're going to be able to support yourself, whether it's just you or you and your family, for a certain amount of time as you go into this place. We're going to be mostly self-supported. So we were able to kind of avoid that step and kind of fast forward through there, and in a future video I'll tell you how we did that too. But I just invite you to come along with us and explore how we're going to go about this, some of the difficulties we faced, the timelines, how long it's taken us when we finally decided, like, yes, we want to go. Between that point to when we actually touch down in Japan, it's going to take some time. Right now we're thinking 4 months from now, maybe early August 2024 is when we'll actually be there. I'll tell you how we're getting rid of our stuff. We're not keeping anything in storage, and I'll kind of tell you our thought process on that. But please join us. It's going to be, I hope, some interesting videos. And please, if you have questions on anything I've covered or haven't covered, or you want me to cover in the future, put it down in the comments. I'll read them, I'll respond to them, and if there's enough interest, I'll make some videos on that. So thanks for joining me, and God bless, and look forward to talking to you again in the future.